Hiya. So I've just realized that the day 2 recording, our live webcast, didn't have any sound when I went through the demonstration. It looks like I misused the software. So when I took my video off, it took the sound away as well. So I'm just going to re-record the part where I just demonstrate what exactly you need to do on SpareRoom. So yeah, make sure you can still kind of check out the beginning of the other video and towards the end from about minute, I think 11 onwards. I've got some good information in the other video, but I'll just post this one in here so that you can get the walkthrough of SpareRoom. All right, so we're on SpareRoom and we'll put in our search area. So in this example, we're going to go through Lancaster. And you want to look at rooms for rent so that we can see what other landlords are advertising as available. So I'll hit the search now button and it'll pop up all of our results. So we got 262 results. Now we can see from this note right here that this is all Lancaster postcodes. So this is all postcodes starting in LA. Now depending on what you're looking for, this might be too much. So if you are in your area and you only want kind of that specific city location, then you can click view only Lancaster ads or view only ads for kind of whatever area you're searching in. If you're happy with looking at everything in that wider postcode, then you've just got 262 leads right there. But now I'm gonna just shrink that down a little bit because I don't know Lancaster very well. I'm just using it as a random example. But I'm gonna say that that's quite a lot. We probably would only want to look a bit closer towards the city center. So you can see our first one is LA1. So now we know, we're close into the center. Now, here we've got 95 results. So that basically means if you're just getting started here, you've got 95 leads that you can start to follow up on for your rent-to-rent business. Again, we might want to narrow these down a little bit, and there's a few options that I want to walk you through where you can do that. So if we look over here in the kind of left-hand bar where you can do different filters. So first of all, like we talked about with our Gumtree search, you can look at agents and private landlords. You can look at agents only, and you can look at private landlords only. So if you look at both, that means you get to see everything. If for some reason you're really, really adverse to working with agents or you're really adverse to working with private landlords, you can screen one or the other of them out. I would recommend keeping it open, so having as many possibilities as you can, because I know people that work great with agents and they get loads of rent-to-rents that way. I know people that work with direct with landlords and they get loads that way. So you can do both, and it's best to have as many leads as possible. I wouldn't filter by the rent because for our purposes here, it doesn't matter. Now this is the area where you can kind of get separated between your HMO strategy and your serviced accommodation strategy. So if we look at most serviced accommodations, people are generally looking for kind of a studio, a 1-bedroom flat, or maybe a 2-bedroom flat. So if we untick kind of the HMO type properties and just look at those, apply that filter, we can see that there's one result. Yesterday there were 2, so one's already been rented. So there's one result, luxury studio apartment in the city center. Sounds perfect just from a high level for serviced accommodation. I would suggest you get on there and contact them now. It also gives you a little bit broader area. So if you want to look in a 1-mile radius and a 3-mile radius, you've got another result that you can have a look at. So if you're open to a bit more of an area, SpareRoom will just give you a little bit more. Now that's your service accommodation. If you're just looking at kind of flats, you've got some options there. But we're going to focus on HMOs today, so we can look at rooms and whole properties. Let's just apply that filter really quick. So what that means is that all of the rooms are available and that landlord generally wants to rent it out as an entire property, not on kind of a room by room basis. So we've got 3 results here. And we can kind of scroll through. So we've got a 7-bedroom flat. This one just says 2 rooms available. So the landlord's ticked the wrong button basically when he's advertised it. So another 3-bed, and this one's a 5-bed flat. So I would get on there, you could contact them. That's if those are probably your best opportunities to be able to get a flat or a property quickly that's completely empty. So approaching that landlord and just having a chat about what you can do. You aren't limited to just whole properties though. So I would suggest not limiting there and ticking the rooms in existing shares. So this will show you, again, we've got 94 results, so it just removed that one bedroom flat. So if we're focusing on HMOs, we've now got 94 leads just in this one area, which is absolutely awesome. Again, we've blown our 20 leads out of the water. We had 44 yesterday, 94 today, so that's what, 138, if my math is right. My math might not be right. I'm not great, even though I used to be an accountant. Anyways, so we've got 94 results just in Lancaster for this. Now, why I tell you not to eliminate the ones that are available, just one room might be available, is because it opens the door and just gives you that chance to talk to that landlord or that agent. So maybe that property is not perfect. Maybe he doesn't want to rent that one, but maybe the landlord or the agent has other properties that'll be suitable. Or lots of the properties I took on when I was kind of advertising and doing my research and marketing, they already had tenants in them. And the landlord loved my proposal and was happy to ask his current tenants to leave so that we could take over. Now, I always take on properties empty. I guess I can't say always now because we've had a couple of different things, but I always recommend you take the properties on empty. And so you might have to wait a little while. So, I mean, sometimes it took a month or two for the landlord to kind of move his tenants on. Generally, they were paying a lot less than we wanted to pay. They weren't taking care of the property. So the way we got our profit basically is by doing a quick refurb, bit of painting, decorating of the property, and then renting it out at a higher rate than what the landlord was doing. So anyways, that's why I recommend calling all of these ones, sending them, a message, however they prefer to get in touch via SpareRoom here, and just sending them a message. So you've got 94 of them. This one's got ensuite bedrooms. This one still has 5 double rooms available, so you might be catching them right at the beginning of their advertising, and they might be open to hearing what you can do and how you can work with them. So don't leave these out, even if it's just one room available. So we've just got one room available here. Still send them a message with your proposal. Something like, I'm a relocation agent. I work with companies in the local area to help house their employees. We'd be interested in looking at your property as a potential long-term lease for us. Is that something you'd be interested in speaking about? It's just as simple as that. Just put the feelers out there. You don't have to write 20 pages. You don't have to explain every single thing that you do. Keep it simple, but I would suggest chatting with all of these people. And again, don't limit yourself. So don't look at it and be like, oh, well, that room's ugly, or oh, look at that one. He didn't put any photos of the room on there. I don't want to look at that one. Contact all of them, because these ones, and I think I talked about it during our Gumtree talk, the ones without the photos, tenants aren't talking to them either. Lots of the tenants are skipping that over because they're like, oh, they didn't put photos on there. That's no good. I don't want to message them. Where that means for you, that could be a great opportunity because not as many people are contacting them. Now, well, my mom's online. So now other kind of options down here. If you read the email, you'll see that there was an option where you could take out live-in landlords. That's no longer an option anymore. So I'm assuming it's because there weren't very many that had live-in landlords. So you don't have to worry about that over here. And there's nothing else that I would really consider kind of filtering by. You don't really care if it's a smoking property, any of this stuff. You don't really care who's occupying it. You might, if you want to focus just on students or professionals, you might want to have just a look at these. Sometimes when I'm doing my advertising, I want to look at properties that have students in them, and I only rent personally to professionals. So I would send that owner a message and say, hey, do you want to get out of the student market? We rent to professionals. We're looking to increase our supply. We work with companies in the local area to help house their employees. Would you be interested in a long-term lease? We take over all the maintenance and you don't have to worry about students trashing your houses. Something like that. But yeah, that's just kind of adding on a little extra bit. I would suggest having a look. So this Monday to Friday lets, that is sometimes an indication that it's a live-in landlord. So if I look at only ones that have 7 days per week, apply the filter, we've gone down to 93 results. So there was one result that didn't have, kind of 7-day availability. That does tend to tell me it might be a live-in landlord. So that limits us down to 93. So again, there's not that many that have the live-in landlord option, at least in this area. So if you do want to kind of eliminate that possibility, you might want to pick 7 days per week. But it's not super important. If it's a live-in landlord, they'll just ignore your message. So don't worry about bothering people if you message them or wasting their time. They're on here for a reason. They're looking for tenants. It's okay to inquire. Maybe don't inquire to all of them in one day. They might, it might be a bit overwhelming. Some people are advertising more than one room at a time. So if you message them and spam all of their rooms with the same message, they might not be super impressed. So just be careful. One thing you can do, so I'll look in here. It depends if this person has any, but you can see that you can contact the advertiser. It gives you their information. There it is. So more rooms from the same advertiser. So I'd say be careful when you do go to message these people and make sure that you don't spam them about every single property separately. So maybe pick 5 to 10 properties a day to send a message to, and just kind of check that you're not messaging them over and over and over and over again. He's got a room in a vegetarian eco house. Well, that's quite exciting. Anyways, yeah, so just keep that in mind when you're contacting people. They're going to get turned off if you've sent every one of their ads the same exact message. So make it look like you're trying to be discerning. But that's it. It's pretty much that simple to get a whole load of leads from SpareRoom. So don't limit yourself. Keep going. Put all of these in your back pocket. Do the exercise. If you're not ready to call anybody, don't worry. That's okay as well. Just practice. See how many leads are out there. And yeah, we'll look forward to speaking to you again. Take a look at the other video I did. There's a little bit more information kind of towards the end. I'll try to kind of cut and paste this and make one solid video. It might be a bit funny, but we'll see what I can do. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and good luck with your SpareRoom lead generation.